Hello people, and welcome back to part 22 of Noveria, our Cities Skylines snow build. Hope you're all having a wonderful day, and thank you for all the support on Sunday's stream. We had a nice time reworking this entire Green Cities neighbourhood. I really wasn't happy with the repeated pattern that we implemented here in part 21, so we ripped it all out, introduced a new metro station, which is getting a ton of use now. And lots of people actually using these kind of side platforms to get around and picking up these walkways. Very nice. Also introduced a new snowman coven, kind of a media coven if you if you like. We brought in the media broadcasting building from the Concerts DLC, the television station, and the shopping centre to help create a little bit of a media centre, and also reworked the orientation of some of our service buildings like the high school and the gymnasium, and a little bit of repeated colourful housing spice. And this is much more complementary to our skyline now from this angle, right? This view right here, a lot better. So kind of, prime example of sometimes even I don't like my builds, and you have to rework them sometimes to get them to look the way that you want. And then we came down here as well and introduced a little monorail switch point with lots of pathways leading back over to Minot Square over there. Also brought in some nice little kind of very heavily fenced path garden designs, which really helps decorate up our little tram stop here. Quite happy with this design. I think here removed a little bit of our repeated housing pattern to accommodate a library. And yeah, some nice Sunday jobs. So thank you for all the support. Really glad that you guys are still enjoying our Sunday streams. However, in today's episode, we are going to work on the downtown transport hub, which is going to occupy kind of this triangle right here, right? If we draw an imaginary line behind the train station, all the way up here, and then down and up and against this skyline. So quite an unusual shape to work with today, and there are a few things that need addressing and factoring in. So we have underground metro through the area, as well as overground in the Glassbox train station. We want to bring in a new tram line to flow over this side of the downtown to service the commercial waterfront, as well as kind of one that goes into the downtown here as well. So we'll factor in some new tram networks today. You can see here kind of a bad sign for me with the transport hub is you see how many cars we have here. This is what we want to eliminate. So many people are arriving via the Glassbox train station and then driving, and that's purely because there's not enough public transport connections for them to pick up at the minute. So definitely trams, maybe some more underground metro, and maybe something else as well. We'll see what else we can factor in to today's transport hub as well. And also something to factor in as well is that because we are building so close to our main skyline here, it's important that we maintain those designs and height as we begin to head over to this area, right, So lots of very tall buildings, IT cluster, high-density residentials, maybe some high-density commercial in here as well. But, tall buildings, because we're right next to the skyline here. We can't drop down yet. It has to continue to grow up. So, fun space to work with. Let's get some uniques, public transport, and make a downtown public transport hub, shall we? The first thing I actually need to do here is actually delete the Glassbox train station because we want to upgrade this into arterial road, and we currently can't do that with the existing road network frame. So we'll allow this to be tram road because we'll feed some kind of tram system in here, and then we'll upgrade this into 4-lane. Okay, let's remove our existing tram network and we'll decide how this is going to configure as we place in our transport hub again. So of course we are using the glass box. We want to delete a few of these rail lines too, so we can accommodate in the new shape. Wonderful. Then let's get the metro hooked in again. Okay, so the first thing I want to discuss is the orientation of the main unique building that's going to sit outside the transport hub. And for this, I think we're going to run with the clock tower. So let's draw in a little supporting road, and then dive into our unique buildings. We're going to grab the clock tower from the Park Life DLC. Now, it's always nice to centralize this asset, but I think in the grand scheme of things, centralization won't really be that noticeable here. So I think it's something we can work with, right? It's going to add to our skyline. Nice kind of old clock tower vibes here. And we can generate some nice plazas around this as well. Okay, so let's take away this little earthquake center. And I think we'll draw around here with probably some nice grassy roads with trees. Come off our road guideline, of course. Okay, box this in, upgrade the front as well, and then trim off the edge. And then this gives us a kind of a nice little open plaza clock tower vibes, right? As soon as we emerge out of the train station, very impressive views So in terms of building the skyline now, what I want to do is maybe come in with freeform tool and come out of this road here. Okay, and then I think we'll have this as regular road. Now we've worked with micro districts a couple of times in Noveria already, and we're going to do the same thing here again as well. So just within this one lone block here, we're going to paint in ourselves a brand new district. Okay, so following those road guidelines. Then we're going to give this the IT course of specialization. Okay, so we have very little industrial demand at the minute, but as we satisfy some of this residential today, this will change, and then we'll just zone all of this up with office zoning, and then we'll have some nice organic IT cluster patterns generate within this shape here. For those that follow my channel, I'm not usually a fan of this technique, but in the grand scheme of the skyline, it is going to work quite nicely. I think I might just want to trim up a couple of the kind of more odd looking shapes, stuff like this, right? Kind of trim these up as well. Okay, nice. So we also have a one-way flow system flowing through this part of the downtown that takes us all the way down into here as well. So I'm quite keen to maintain this design and aesthetic. Now we have been running mainly with Green Cities Residential, just because I'm a fan of the way the assets look, but I think we're going to go regular high density here. And of course, quick check of our noise pollution, we're absolutely fine. This is too close, they will struggle here. But all of this right here, we've got some nice big 4x4 blocks to work with. So we can certainly get some high density res in these shapes here. So we'll see what grows there organically. And then let's have a little look about how our tram boxes are going to flow. So of course, our clock tower is going to need a road connection for its services. So let's provide that. How about we just come in with a little freeform here, alright? I don't think that's too bad. And then we'll start to work in some nice little tram squares now for our transport hub. So I think we'll come out from this one. So of course this is the one that currently flows through the downtown. So let's give it a nice little perfect square of 135. And we can draw this in now. Delete that stop, have them stop here. Probably stop there actually, next to the clock tower, probably be a little bit nicer. Alright. And then we'll want to give them another one as well. So there's also this underground metro station. So this flows into the downtown transport hub, which is, or the downtown plaza over here. So we definitely want to maintain this connection. So I'm wondering if we maybe shift the station over to this side and then include it within the central square. So I think that's what we'll do. Okay, so having analysed this for a hot minute, because we have two metro tunnels converging here, there's the red line and the green line, right? This is going to be a really nice opportunity to use the dual island platform station, and it very nearly fits in to this 4x4 grid here. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw this lane here off a couple of tiles to the right, which should give us the aesthetic that we are after. We have a little brief test here. Let's amend the road network to accommodate it. Let's come back into this 6 lane as well. Let's bring it out temporarily so we have the room. And then just make sure that we can actually accommodate it in. So it's here where we want it, right? We want it as close to that road as possible. Okay. So this will give us a really nice kind of transport vibe as well. Also expand the transport hub vibe as well, of course. And we can now run 2 different metro lines through this station. So I'll go ahead and get everything hooked in. Let's get all this thrown out one tile. And then we'll hopefully see a super busy metro convergence point here. And there's also a cycle network as well. Let's not forget these guys. These guys do want to be factored into the area too. So let's get it set up anyway. So there we have a nice use of the new dual platform underground stations. Now this should work in quite nicely as well. Might re-centralize this ever so slightly, but we can probably get away with just filling out these new metro stations with some vanilla pavement path. They actually work quite nicely, kind of blending into the texture on the bottom. Okay, we just kind of flesh it out in this design right, and then bring it down in a couple of different spots. Just kind of hug that station as close as possible, right? Kind of helps it blend in a little easier. And then we can do the same thing over here as well. So this residential probably wants rezoning now, just so they're growing in there. Appropriate grids again, it's probably something we want to specifically zone here, I imagine. We'll probably have them, I think, facing into the kind of the main square here, right? So we'll just get some nice 4x4 zonings going, which will give us a much more uniform look in that skyline as well. Happy to do some throwing angles here too. Start using some parks in theory too to make this a little more of an attractive area to be. Maybe a little dog park in here. Probably some of the plazas will do a good job here as well, actually. If we wanted to bring in some of these, it's always a possibility, right? We get one in here, one in there, and then we can continue to flesh out our path design around the back of these. Okay, keep everyone walking. So I'm not going to historical any of these for the time being. I want them to level up. We want them to get to level kind of 3s, 4 and 5. Of course, if you're with Plot the Growables and find it, you can refine this skyline, but we'll see what comes in organically. And then we do have some possibilities of kind of 2x4 shapes in here as well if we want. Okay, couple of different options. Save some path network action through here too. We are actually getting some organic repeated Art Deco spicing, which isn't the worst thing in the world, but you know, it's all about maintaining that height in the skyline right at this point in the map. Okay, not bad. So we now know that this first tram line is going to end outside the station here, so we can maybe upgrade into a fancier road at this point. Okay, we'll also want to turn off these traffic lights here too. Let's do a little traffic light sweep around the area. I want everyone just to continually flow through this area, not forgetting that I have not hooked this one back in. Let's do this as well. Okay. Happy for some curves to appear in the area. Doesn't have to be totally straight here, right? And then also another cycling connection down this side into the transport hub too. Let's see if the game on 3 speed for a minute and see how people are deciding to move around the area. I imagine this metro station is going to become incredibly busy, especially since we're accepting intercity trains here as well. Plus trams, internal trains, and now 2 metro lines, plus the cycle network. So a real heavy centre of public transport coming together here. Okay, and then I think to accommodate our second tram square here, we're just going to snap in with a little one-way loop, and we will snap into this one so it saves us place in another tram depot. So the trams can actually flow down here. So we'll come on to road length as well, no guideline. And then it's kind of like 135 in measurements, isn't it? So let's just keep it nice and symmetrical. All flowing around to the right, everyone's happy there. We can feed this in, and then we now know this is going to need to be tram road. And then we can then feed this all the way over here. And then factor in a tram system. So again, this is a nice opportunity to introduce some tram-only roads. So we'll replace that path with tram. And then we can continue to... So we do have a one-way contraflow system active here, which is fine. It's not the worst thing in the world. I'm just wondering where we want to. A little bit of abandonment here, that's fine. Let's let them regrow. We are getting not enough goods to sell popping up, and this is because we don't have enough organic industry. If we check out exports, which is somewhere here, you can see we're currently importing all goods. We're making nothing because we have like little to no generic industry. So I think the next industrial demand spike we will work on a little generic industrial waterfront to sit over here opposite the marina, and I do some heavy industrial vibes over here, which should be quite a fun time, but we're a little while away from there yet. We'll have to wait for that industrial spike, right? Okay. So this isn't too bad. Let's factor this road system in now. So I think we'll have it coming in front of the plazas. Definitely want it to pass through here. Possibly down in front of the water as well, maybe bring it up in a loop like this. Okay. I think that's what we'll do. So we'll come down this way, maintaining that flow system. Okay, then this can become tram road. And then we'll upgrade into tram road here. I was thinking with the metro station over here, there's probably no need to bring the tram over to this way. So we will just circle it back up in front of this metro station here. And then bring it back down to connect in with this platform. And then this will give us a brand new tram system to play with. So we'll bring it over. It's going to be nice to see some trams over the bridge as well. We'll stop in this little tram green belt. Nice decoration opportunities there, of course. And then let's have it stop out by the waterfront. And then again up by the metro station. Be nice, we'll actually get the tram stop decoration under the station here as well. That'll be quite good. And then we will stop on this side of the bridge and then back into the tram plaza. And then we'll grab our tram as it leaves the depot, hopefully. If I can remember where my depot is. Here we go. Yeah, so they'll come out of this one now. And then we'll go for, how about a pink tram? We very rarely use the pink trams, right? Cool. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see how it develops. Okay. But not bad so far. I think it's coming together. Let's have a look at some service assets, because I'm pretty sure we're quite far away from police and whatnot. Getting a little bit of a sickness here. What is up with you? What's wrong? Is it noise pollution? Yeah, it does look like noise pollution is causing the issue here. He does go away, but we want to keep our eye on that. Make sure he doesn't get too sick. Okay, so let's take off our noise pollution graphic and look at introducing some service assets. I think a police station will work nicely here. See if we're getting some of these kind of 2x2 slum assets in now as well. Which I don't mind sitting up against the truss bridge. You can't imagine living next to a large arterial bridge like this would be particularly pleasant, so maybe some lower income housing up next to this. I don't think I'm totally adverse to that. Let's zone the whole thing up and just see what grows organically. So again, just keeping a very close eye on how my skyline is developing here. Remembering to check it from all angles. It still has to contribute to this grand skyline. So we can see why we want them to move into those levels 3s and 4 now, right? Maybe 5 as well. We'll see kind of what assets come in with it. Okay. Growing slowly. I think what I definitely want to also do is include another connection on and off of this elevated arterial here now as well. We're kind of building around it. Okay, so we have this hooked in now. Just took a little bit of reworking, amending the pillars on the bridge, but I will enjoy another connection on that truss bridge now. And I think likewise here as well, we're also going to start bringing, I think we'll also bring another connection down for our cycle network here as well. Some nice kind of flowing vibes over here. Couple of connections, and we can always decorate this out with some nice green belt as well. Okay, but things will slowly grow now. It is snowing in Noveria too. Do let me know if you guys want the snow on during the episodes. We leave it on for the live streams for the fun, but I realise the constant assault of white flakes might be a little bit too much to bear for the recorded stuff, but do let me know if you want snow on permanently. You can always rework it, right? Okay, but it's growing here. It's growing. Yeah, so we have a crematorium down here as well. Let's continue to zone up our residential in these larger patterns. We also have some zoning squares here as well, available for residential zoning, and there's more stuff we can do with the road network if we want, and we can actually come out, just bring in, I guess we could connect into the road, right? There's no harm in that. And then just give ourselves these zonings, which will give us a very kind of sandwiched, kind of skyscraper look once it's all grown up to its appropriate level. Get a nice drive-by here as well on the people on the bridge. And it's already getting a lot more use now with another connection on it. So this is the bonus of preparing that downtown road frame. Now, you know, we have all this ready to go and we just hook everyone into it as and when we come to these sorts of builds. Well, it's not bad. It's not bad. I think we'll bring some high density commercial into the area. Let's zone up around here and also down here too. Okay. We have some decoration to bring back through this side as well, which we will do. See how our metro station's doing. 259 in a week, which isn't bad for metro. Let's see if we can get a little peek at some of the sims down here. Not bad. There is something very satisfying about a transport hub, isn't there? Just seeing so many public transport ants moving around. Okay, so we just had a little spike or a little peak in industrial. So our IT cluster is going to start coming in now, which will be good. All right, but I think what I'm going to do now is just hang around, see how these guys are doing. Yeah, they're not really moving up the levels, so they're going to want lots of parks and stuff, so we'll provide them for them. See what else can probably squeeze in one of the snow parks around our transport hub, maybe. Possibly go for maybe one here. And then one there. Let's make sure they're facing the same way though. Let's move it around this side. Okay. We do have a lot of snow. A lot of snow and death in the city. Yeah, okay. Do we have enough snow dumps? We probably don't. Oh, we are actually having a bit of a death wave at the minute, aren't we? There's a couple of dead folks knocking about. Okay, either way, we'll hang around and wait for some of these to level up, and then start to see how it affects our skyline. And then we'll be right back. So again, just coming into the topic of discussing manipulating a road network to suit our designs. There is again possibilities of introducing some zoning around the American Truss, which I think is definitely something I want to get involved with. So we'll draw in some little supporting road networks here. Again, there's opportunities for the same thing to happen down this side as well. And develop some smaller inner city streets, right? Want to make sure as we're approaching our key that we're remaining somewhat sensible. Don't really want to ruin a lot of the zoning here. Let's see if we can rework this slightly. Let's come out to this one instead. There we go. I think that's a little bit nicer, isn't it? And that gives us some 4x4, well, 4x3, essentially. The metro will shatter the zone in there. Opportunities here. Again, there's another one there. You know, once these start to level up, they will kind of rise up and past the bridge. Which will give us a very kind of boxed in, almost kind of claustrophobic feel is what we're going for here, right? That's kind of the vibe we want to develop. Especially with these assets here, right? Imagine the metro passing by the high rises. Get people hooked into this side of the walkable quay here as well today. Hopefully see a few folks picking it up. But now we can see, if we kind of remember back at the start of the episode, right, we had all this traffic coming out of the transport hub. And now everyone's walking. Which is always good news, right? Because we bring in much more methods of public transport, everyone can get around a lot easier. How's the waterfront tram doing? Let's check on that. Let's see how many people are waiting at this stop. Okay, yeah, so we can probably bring this down to 3 trams, but it's getting some use on the waterfront. Linking people back into there. Fairly happy with that, I think. Okay, so I think in terms of decoration for this area, I might bring in a very small green cities district, okay? Let's maybe go for kind of this quadrant here, right? So again, we're discussing micro districts. So let's give it a little bit of green city specialization. Because we have some commercial demand, I'm going to start introducing some 1x4 green city zonings, almost to function as like a farmer's market. You know, maybe every Sunday afternoon there's a farmer's market on down by the clock tower. You know, this is something we get, at least in English cities, maybe not in Chicago, which is what we're taking a lot of inspiration from, but I don't know, maybe some of our Chicagoans can verify that, but it's a nice vibe we can bring into the area, as well as helping satisfy some of our commercial demand as well. You are suffering with ground pollution. Why? Because I have a recycling centre here. That's why. Totally, absolutely ignored that asset then. I was like, ground pollution? Why? There we go. That's better. He's gone now. Okay, so we're getting little peaks of industrial demand now. These residences are settling in. So we'll start to see our green cities hide IT cluster. Yes, that's what we want. We want one of those tall ones. And we can now start to see this side of the skyline flesh out. And of course, once these start hitting higher levels, it will be a much gradual kind of crawling height as we come down this side, right? But that's definitely what we want. We like these tall IT cluster buildings. These are going to be nice. We get a nice street view down here now too. See if we can grab a little bit of first person action, shall we? See if we can find someone that's walking through the transport hub. Hopefully there is someone knocking about. Hopefully facing the skyscrapers though. See if we can find at least one person. You? Where are you going? You went to the high-rise office building. That's fine. Yeah, so the IT cluster is going to settle in nicely, I think, isn't it? Especially with the servicing offices behind here too. Not bad. And then she's walking into the main downtown itself, right? Very nice. And then lots of metro folks walking around here. Yeah, so this isn't the asset I want. And then in terms of other decoration, I'm a very big fan of what we did on Sunday's stream, which was a lot of these, I guess I'm going to call it garden belt. Because I guess it's a variation of green belt, right? So lots of pathways that are very tightly hugged with fencing and then kind of dedicated gardens. They work very nicely around kind of high dense infrastructure, especially when we kind of look down here right amongst these high rises. Big fan of that. Big fan of this aesthetic. So we'll definitely repeat this over by our transport hub as well today. So let's see where we can possibly squeeze one of these in. And we'll of course expand the design during our detailing time lapse today. So let's bring in a couple of these little fences. Okay. Here we have our freeform curve, just mimic that with the tool as well. Very nice. And then kind of my rule for creating these is a base layer of overgrowth. Start with our taller trees, maybe one Palavan pine, 2 conifers, move down a size, 3 of those, and then down into bushes, lots of these, and then a couple of these kind of smaller ones as well. Okay, so it's a nice, real simple way, but quite effective way of just filling some dead space if you don't want to zone it up. But otherwise, it's not too bad. I'm going to wait for this green cities pattern to come in, and then we'll see what it looks like once it's available. So these are the shapes you want to be working with. 4x1s, 1x4s, 1x3s, 1x2s, and then 3x1s. Lots of patterns with these green cities markets, but we can establish like a little collection of tents, right? And then if we flesh out the pattern in between using our vanilla dirt path. Okay, come down this side as well. Bring them down here, and up and around the back. And I think perhaps a touch of farm fence in the downtown if we dare, which could be quite a bold move, but we'll see how it pays off, alright? Let's kind of box all these assets in. So, you know, you can kind of imagine these tents are kind of packed away, tents and stores are packed away every weekend, and then they're reset up for the Sunday Noveria's farmers market, and maybe people from out in Noveria kind of bring their goods over here to sell during the nice Sunday afternoons. Whatever law you want behind it, right? you can find a justification for it. Okay, not bad. And then of course we're going to want to be linking through with lots and lots of pathways back into between the different road networks. Let's find a nice place for this to connect in here. There we go. Keep everyone flowing about. But otherwise, the IT cluster has definitely contributed to the skyline too, which is nice. Okay. Again, just double checking how we're doing for schools around these guys. Yeah, they definitely want an elementary, so we'll probably just throw in A little green cities on here and high school. These guys could probably do with a high school as well, which of course is going to keep everyone educated and leveling up. There we go, placing the schools now. We'll see some assets start to move up a few levels, which will be great. Start to introduce that crawling height. But yeah, I think that's kind of the bulk of the infrastructure in. And it's filled out this quadrant fairly nicely now. So guys, I feel like that does feel like a good place to move into a detailing time lapse now. We have a fair amount of work to do, of course. Bring in the kind of overgrown rail vibes that hug this corner after we relocated the station. Decorate out this corner here. Again, lots of nice tree patterns and pathways through this way. Some paths through here. Decorate our tram stops, of course. Head over to the walkables keys and hopefully hook some people in with pathways here, because they are getting used down this side now, or at least they were. I think because, yeah, here we go. So there's some people picking them up now on this side, so we want the same to happen on this side as well. And then, yeah, lots of nice green belt, or garden belt, I guess we're calling it today with the fences, right? Fence belt, whatever phrase or terminology we want to give it, and then maybe some nice symmetrical path designs leading down into this residential area over here as well, which we have some dead space beginning to appear. So plenty of things to address in our time lapse. But otherwise, let's get started with it, and I will speak to you all in a second. That is going to do it for today. I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, likes, comments and shares below are always appreciated. Equals as much if you haven't enjoyed it. Please feel free to leave a dislike as well. Very difficult space to work with today. Lots of angles which shatter our zoning and make placing our larger favourite assets a little more difficult. But I think we've managed to pull it off and blend in a nice kind of office, residential, commercial, unique building, transport plaza all into the downtown. And they are getting an absolute ton of use. The underground metro is hitting around 500. The Glassbox train station about 700 a week. And the trams are getting nice and busy as well. So everyone's moving around. But do hang around for the rest of the outro tag and check out all the details. You guys certainly wouldn't have seen it all. And I just enjoy all the public transport ants switching from one method to another. I think there's a few satisfying things in Cities Skylines, isn't there? But otherwise I will shut up and I will leave it there. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and as always, enjoy the rest of your day.